So it's interesting because until not too long ago, people used to talk about clips as an obsolete technology. Now people are talking about coils as an obsolete technology. And that's the reason why I want to show this case, so that people can see the potentials that we have with coils, specifically in the acute period after subarachnoid hemorrhage. This is a 77-year-old woman, history of hypertension, colon cancer, status post-colostomy, grade 3 subarachnoid hemorrhage, had to be intubated for airway protection, and a ventriculostomy was placed for management of acute hydrocephalus. She was diagnosed with a wide-necked 8mm left supraclinoid aneurysm. This is the aneurysm. I doubt that a web would stay in place. Lucas?
Show us more pictures, but I'm concerned.
So obviously, this is the wide-necked aneurysm. You see the ICA, A1, M1, and it's like the entire segment of the ICA is fusiform and dysplastic. And in the acute setting, we decided that we had an option to do dual microcatheter technique. We use as a system a benchmark catheter. The two microcatheters was a headway 17 and a headway duo. Used 10 coils, total length of 95 centimeters, starting with a hydroframe 18 for the framing, and then progressing to a hydroframe 10, several VFC coils and several hydrosoft coils. And this is the case. So you see the CT showing the diffuse subarachnoid blood with the hydrocephalus. This is at the time of angiography. One of my partners had done the angiogram during the weekend and thought that the patient, it was better to do flow diversion. But given that she had acute subarachnoid hemorrhage, we decided that we had an option to coil primarily. We're going to do the measurements now. Measures approximately 8.5 millimeters in maximum dimension. The coil that we use as a first coil for framing was a 9 millimeter hydroframe 18. And reason for that, we need good contact with the wall, opposing the wall of the aneurysm. This is going to be our working position. In the lateral view, we have, in the B plane, we have the better view of the aneurysm itself, and the safe zone in order to protect the ICA. The oblique view in the A plane was not great. We're just looking there at the dome. You can see that there's a daughter lobule of the aneurysm, which is most likely the site of rupture. When we decide to primarily coil an aneurysm like this, the most important piece is being patient. And obviously we're reducing this video to a 5-minute video, but it took a while for us to get the configuration that we needed and keep the coil in the safe space without protruding into the parent artery. Obviously, as I said before, this is a condensed video, so we're just waiting for that loop to give us protection at the level of the entering into the parent artery. And this is the first coil. We're going very, very slowly, working with my partner. We always, I learned from my mentor, Dr. Bernstein, for IC more than 2, so we like to work together. And watching for each other, making sure that we don't mess it up, that we don't have complications. As I said, in the A plane, it's difficult really to see the parent artery, but in the lateral, in the B plane, you can definitely see it. It's a straight lateral view. And you can see we're going very slowly with this first coil. But we're going to be able to achieve a framing, a shape that is going to be very safe for us to continue the progression of the advancement of the next coils. From then on, we're going to be working with a blank mask. We just know our safety zone, making sure that it doesn't go anterior to the previously placed framing coil, and we're just going to continue to advance coils within that frame. We do not detach that first coil until we have a secure mass of coils that we know is not going to fly into the intracranial circulation. So this is how slow we did advance this coil to make sure that we kept the coil in place and without protruding into the parent artery. You see how slow we're doing this. And that's what one of the key things, patience, patience, patience. And it is important for all of us to remember that we have these options. It doesn't need to be only the sexy new toys that we have for new devices, but we can, yes, use this obsolete coiling technique. You see now we advanced that coil completely. Now, obviously, we're going to check with an injection and make sure that we have a good wall position. Everything looks safe. And we're going to keep the coil in place. Look at the stagnation of contrast now into the daughter lobule. So obviously, we're causing intrasaccular flow diversion at that moment, and which is most likely that was the rupture point. You're going to see the next coils again, as I mentioned before, just using a blank mask. We're going to stay within that frame. If anything goes anteriorly in the lateral view, we stop and we reposition the coil. We have not detached the initial coil. And we continue to do this until you saw at the beginning of my presentation, we advanced a total of 10 coils. And with the goal of us securing the aneurysm initially, and then with the plan of bringing the patient back in the near future to reassess the need for flow diverter or any other adjuvant technology. This is, you see how we're advancing that second coil. It's staying, the first coil is not moving at all. That's the reason for using that 18 coil to start. The other 10 coils were obviously softer. So we were protected by using the firmer, stronger, more robust initial framing coil. And again, we're going to do another injection of contrast. That shows, again, the progression of the coiling. You're going to see we have we need to stop in less than 30 seconds. So this is where we are at the end of the coiling. So we believe that we have protected the aneurysm for the acute period. We're going to allow the patient to recover for several weeks until either she converts into a shunt or remove the EVD. And before she was transferred to rehab, we did an angiogram. And this is the result a couple of weeks later. So it is a good result. We decided at that moment not to intervene or do anything else at that point. She's going to come back for a 3-month follow-up angiogram. And at that moment, we'll decide if there's a need for flow diversion. Thanks a lot for your attention.